construct. So what does all this mean? We live a false identity. We think we're humans when we're consciousness. We're multi-leveled awareness, not just the body, consciousness. And some near-death experiences have experienced and then come back to tell the story of what they've experienced when they've been through. Sometimes they experience it as a tunnel and then come back when their body releases the consciousness for a short time. And this is one that encapsulates all of it. He said, everything from the beginning, my birth, my ancestors, my children, my wife, everything comes together simultaneously. I saw everything about me and about everyone who was around me. I saw everything they were thinking now, what they thought then, what was happening before, what was happening now. There is no time. There is no sequence of events, no such thing as limitation of distance, of period, of time, of place. I could be anywhere I wanted to be simultaneously. This body computer is what gives us the delusion of all those things. And I'll just finish on this bit. Key to holding us in servitude is to keep us in the left hemisphere of the brain. We have two, the right brain, the left brain, and we have a bridge called the corpus callosum, which bridges the two and should pass information between the two. And the right brain, they are very, very different states of being. The right brain is the out there, the creative, the connection with all that is. The left brain is what deals in numbers, in language, in sequence, and puts everything in hierarchical structures and all the rest of it. And what the system wants, he wants us in there. Because when we're in there and not in there, we are there. And the whole system is structured to put us there. The education system, everything. I found this, different functions of the right and left brain. What the right brain wants to do is say the color. What the left brain wants to do, language, it wants to say the word. And it's interesting when you try to go through these and say the color, how difficult it is for many people to say the color instead of the word, to say green instead of what the left brain wants, which is yellow. And the functions of the two are massively different. This lady, a brain scientist, neuroanatomist called Jill Bolte Taylor, became well known when she had a stroke in the 1990s, I think it was. And she had a stroke in the left brain and stayed awake for most of it, and therefore experienced what was happening. First of all, she got onto an exercise bike trying to overcome how she was feeling, and she looked down at her hands, because this left brain decoding system's now not working, and was not decoding reality as it normally did. She looked down, and she saw not hands, she saw claws. As this went on, she could no longer see a division between her and anything else. Everything just joined as one infinite field of energy consciousness. And she said it was just bliss. Nirvana, she called it. When she tries eventually, the left brain eventually kicks in and says, you've got to get help. She tries to call work, a colleague, to help her out. Took her 45 minutes, I think she said, a long time, trying to go through these business cards to find the number, because when she looked at them, she couldn't see numbers and words anymore, because this wasn't decoding reality as it should. She could see pixels. She was seeing this reality one step back in its digital pixel state. Eventually, through following the squiggles, she says, she managed to ring the number. And when the guy, he must have said something on the other end, like, hello, all she heard, she said, when he picked the phone up, was woof, 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 woof. And then she said, I tried to say to him, hey, this is Jill, I'm in trouble. And all she heard herself say was woof, 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 woof. Because the vibration was not being decoded by the left brain, the language part, into words that we can understand. And what the system wants to do is to put these firewalls up, called education, science, politics, media, peer pressure, to keep the right brain out of it. And this is fundamental, because these things are all part of the defense mechanism, keeping us in left brain reality and out of right brain infinity. Now, some people, they call them autistic savants, like this man, Stephen Wiltshire. They access the right brain potential in ways that other people don't. And this is why they're capable of fantastic achievements. This guy, Stephen Wiltshire, was taken up in a helicopter over London by the BBC for half an hour with nothing except his eyes, and then came down and drew London from the air with incredible accuracy. Why? Because he was accessing that infinite potential that left brain people, most of people in the world, don't. This guy, Daniel Tammet, another autistic savant, has again achieved incredible things because he was challenged once to learn Icelandic in a week, and it's an incredibly difficult language to learn. I mean, none of the media were using on their news reading, were using the real name of that volcano in Iceland, were they? Because they could bloody pronounce it. This guy went back on television a week later speaking Icelandic. And his Icelandic teacher said, he's not human. Yes, he is. It's the human that we once were and will be again. When this suppression of our potential and our infinite possibility is brought to an end, and this shite stops. We worship the intellect. Oh, he's got a great mind. Oh, he did this at Oxford. Oh, he's gone to Harvard. Mind is such a low level of awareness. It's supposed to be a vehicle for experiencing this reality, a servant of consciousness. It's become our master. It's become something to worship, and that's the isolated intellect. That's the isolated intellect. And so we reach a point. This fork in the road is, are we going to be consciousness or mind? Are we going to be all that is or little me? It's not really free your mind, it's free yourself from mind. That's why society is structured to completely engross us and swamp us in things to occupy our mind. Open your mind, become all that is. Infinite love is the only truth. Everything else is illusion. What is infinite love? All possibility. Infinite possibility. Choice between the head, thinking, intellect, and the heart, knowing, wider consciousness. Then we start to access this wider information and see the world from a completely different level. We then start to access, once we get out of mind, all these other realities that are there to be accessed and perceived and to glean insight and information from, that have been denied by being encloseted and enclosed in mind. As William Blake said, if the doors of perception were cleansed, everything would appear to man as it is, infinite. The control system's game is not to have that cleanse happen. René Descartes, the French mathematician and philosopher, defining who we are, said, I think, therefore I am. I would update that on the body computer level and say, I compute, therefore I am. But beyond that, in the realms of consciousness, it is simply I am, therefore I am. I am all that is, has been, and ever will be. And this multi-leveled conspiracy is there to keep that knowledge from us, to hold us in little me mental states, so a tiny few can control billions. Without this knowledge, we cannot understand the conspiracy and how it works. And the question is, who's behind it? See, they're hiding already. Who's behind it? And that's what we'll get to in the next section, which will start in 10 minutes. Thank you very much. Thank you.